Hello everyone. This is part 3 of Unit 14. Hello, it is If Conditionals. Today we'll focus on 4 of the cases of if conditional. These are zero conditional, first, second, and third. Let's have a look first on the zero conditional. It is used when we talk about facts or general truth. That is, when you do something and every time you do that thing you get the same result. Like, if or when water boils, it turns into steam or it turns into water vapor. If we heat chocolate, it melts. If we mix red and blue, we get purple. So every time I do the same thing, it gives me the same result. Sometimes I use it to talk about my personal habits. Whenever I do something and it doesn't change, it is treated or it is considered as a fact or as a truth about someone. Like, when I don't get enough sleep, I feel tired the next day. So this is a fact about myself. When I don't sleep well, I feel tired the next day. That's why I use the zero conditional here. Sometimes, when I talk about something specifically, I change the zero conditional into first conditional. How? When I say, if it rains heavily, streets become wet, this is a general case. But when I say, if it rains heavily today, streets will become wet, I specified a certain situation which is raining today. So the first example talks about raining heavily in general, but the second example talks about raining heavily today only. First conditional. As you all know, first conditional is used to talk about things which are likely to happen in the present or the future. So part of it is to indicate the present and the second part to indicate the future. Like the example in front of you, if Danny misses the bus, he will be late for work. So the form of if conditional first is if or unless in the case of negative plus present, then will plus infinitive. So you might ask me, present? What type of present shall we use? I'll tell you that we can use 3 types of present here: present simple, present continuous, and present perfect simple. How and why? Simply to give different meanings, but they all indicate that something is likely to happen in the present or the future. So what about an example to illustrate what I am saying? As the first example says, if Danny misses the bus, he will be late for school. So here I used the present simple. In the second case, if you're looking for the pen, you will find it on the desk. So here I used the present continuous because there is an action in progress, a kind of a continuous action. And in the third example, if you have finished your exam, I'll collect the papers. This to indicate that the action is totally done or completed before the other one starts. But you have to know that we can use may, can, or must in the first conditional instead of will. That means I can change will easily with one of these 3 words: may, can, or must. For example, if I have free time, I can travel to Alexandria. We can also use unless in a conditional sentence to mean if not. So instead of writing if and not, I can use only one word, which is unless, to give me the negative meaning. So here, the sentence with if and not: if you don't practice well, you will lose the match. I can replace if and not using only one word, which is unless, and say unless you practice well, you will lose the match. So I can use the first conditional, as I told you, to talk about things that are likely to happen in the present or the future. But sometimes I can use only the present simple form in the result clause if we have one of the following forms. So, if I don't have one of the following forms, I'm free to use either present simple, present continuous, or present perfect. But in the following cases, I should only use the present simple form. What are these cases? The first thing is the imperative. Do something or don't do something. Here it is in infinitive, or don't plus infinitive, or never plus infinitive. Like, don't eat too much fat if you want to lose weight. The second case, when we are suggesting doing something like let's plus infinitive. Let's take a rest and have a drink if you're tired. So here I only use the present simple form. Also in had better, that we always write using apostrophe D and better, plus infinitive. Like, you had better work hard if you hope to succeed. The fourth case is using would rather, and it is also written with apostrophe D, then rather, plus infinitive. Like when I say, I'd rather stay at home if the weather is bad. Now, second conditional. Second conditional, as the example in front of you indicates, it is used for things that are not likely to happen in the present or the future, and there are two other cases in which I can use the second conditional. And the form, as you can figure out, it is, yes, exactly, it is if plus past simple, would plus infinitive. Like, if I had a lot of money, I would travel around the world. What does this mean? It means that in the present time, I don't have enough money, or I don't have a lot of money. That's why I won't travel around the world. So the case is present, but the indication is in the second conditional. Sorry. Let's have a look on the usage. As I told you before, something which is unlikely to happen in the present or the future. Unlikely here means it is hard, or sometimes it is impossible to happen. Like, if she shut the door to the farm, the animals wouldn't go out. That means she didn't shut the door and the animals went out. Also, I can use the if conditional second case for indirect advice. Sometimes I want to advise someone to do something, but some people get annoyed when I advise them directly. So some people prefer to use the indirect way of advising someone. So I can tell somebody, if I were you. So if I were you, I'd see a doctor. You look so unwell. If I were you, I'd eat healthy food. If I were you, I'd study hard, and so on. So if I were you is a polite way, or it's an indirect way of offering advice. It's also used for imaginary situations. Situations that hard to happen because they are imaginary. Like, if I were taller, I'd play basketball. Unfortunately, I'm not that tall. That's why I wouldn't, or I won't play basketball. If she were a bird, she would fly. But let's ask a question. Is she a bird? Of course not. That's why she won't fly. So here we say that this is an imaginary situation. Here you can see that the verb used with all the pronouns is were. If I were, if he were, if she were, if they were. So I use were instead of was in this case or in this situation. We have a warning, or we have a note. Be careful. Sometimes verbs like had are used as the main verb of the clause. That is, they are not a helping verb as in the third case. That's why some people may get confused when they make their choices in the sentences, and when they see had in the first clause, in if clause, they go and choose the past perfect form or